Hey guys, in today's video we are going to be Zillow surfing a beautiful old 11,000 plus square foot mansion, completely restored in Muncie, Indiana. This property is just $795,000, which is going to shock a lot of people. 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 11,116 square feet, and it's located at 825 East Washington Street in Muncie, Indiana. Now let's take a look at some of the photos of this beautiful old house. And I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, if this house was in my city, it would be, $3 million, $5 million, whatever it may be. This isn't just some rickety old mansion. Like, this is beautifully restored. And there's actually a lot of homes like this in Muncie, Indiana. Now, Muncie, Indiana isn't known as being a particularly wealthy area or a particularly desirable area. So it's kind of left the internet confused recently. Like, why are there so many enormous mansions in Muncie, Indiana? And what's going on in Muncie, Indiana? And even in terms of smaller homes, there's some beautiful old, like, Sears kit homes, some beautiful craftsman homes for around $200,000, $220,000, $240,000. And a lot of people are like, oh man, I wish me and a bunch of friends could move to an area like this and kind of create our own little community. But in terms of why there are so many mansions in Muncie, Indiana, back in the 1880s, Muncie, Indiana actually had a brief oil and gas boom that lasted for about 30 years until about 1910, maybe 1920, and that kind of dried up. All that industry led to the Ball Glass Factory being in Muncie, Indiana, and that provided a lot of jobs and made a lot of wealthy people, and that's why a lot of these mansions are in the area. It's also home to Ball State University, and up until about the 1960s, there was a good amount of industry and manufacturing here, so it was a decent little town, although most of the jobs have left, and the area is a little bit depressed. Here's something crazy, like, what if you and 3 or 4 friends each threw down like 150, 200 grand and bought one of these homes to share? I mean, surely 11,000 square feet is enough for a couple families to share or for a couple friends to share. Although you may need a remote job if you're going to be living in Muncie, Indiana, because there aren't a ton of jobs in the area. And I think this is something that a lot of us have probably thought about, like, oh, what if me and a bunch of friends like moved to Detroit or some other kind of Rust Belt town and kind of brought back the town. And as young professionals moved there, you'd have, businesses and restaurants and bars and, haircutters and other people coming to town to kind of service this new community popping up there. With the cost of homeownership, not everyone's going to be able to live in New York, LA, Chicago, and Houston, but there are a lot of other very affordable areas in the country that people could potentially move to. A lot of times, I'm in the Midwest, a lot of times when I'm by like Gary, Indiana, Northwest Indiana, there's so much potential. It's on Lake Michigan. They have a lot of nice trails. It's a pretty wooded area, but it's really ghetto and really run down. Or even, if you get up into Northwest Michigan, Benton Harbor and cities like that, you're right on Lake Michigan, but these towns are kind of so depressed and so sad. I've often thought about, what if, me and a bunch of friends moved to one of these towns, and there's a speakeasy in the attic, by the way. What if me and a bunch of friends moved to one of these kind of cool towns, bought cheap homes, and just kind of made our lives there and kind of, made our own little community? I think a lot of people have thought about things like that. Will anybody ever do something like that? That remains to be seen. While you're looking at these photos, let me tell you a little bit about Muncie, Indiana. Muncie, Indiana is a mid-sized city in east central Indiana known for its industrial heritage, Ball State University, and role in sociological research. Once a booming manufacturing hub during the Indiana gas boom, Muncie has since evolved into a center for education, healthcare, and regional culture. It's a mix of historic charm and small city resilience continues to define its identity. Now, it's about an hour and 15 minutes outside of Indianapolis. You're about 2 hours and some change outside of Louisville, Kentucky, and about 2 hours and some change outside of Cincinnati. Middletown, USA, Muncie was once famously studied in the 1920s and 1930s as a representative American city in the Middletown Sociological Studies, making it a cornerstone in the field of American sociology. It's also home to Ball State University, founded by the Ball brothers. This public university is a major education and economic force in the region, and it's also got a lot of historic mansions. Muncie boasts an unusually high number of grand historic homes, built during its industrial heyday in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries, especially in neighborhoods like East Central. So let's hop in here and look at some info about this property. You're paying $72 per square foot. That is dirt cheap. Built in 1902 and on a 0.39 acre lot. If you guys are interested in homes like this, maybe we'll do a couple other. I think there's at least 3 or 4 mansions like this, completely restored, that are for sale in Muncie, Indiana. And there's actually some cute little craftsman homes and things like that for not much over $200,000. What's special about this property? 5 operational pocket doors, a 3rd floor ballroom, original oak flooring, and quarter-sawn oak woodwork. Let's see if we can take a look at the property history. This property is going to cost you about $4,600 a month to own. Think about that, a giant historic mansion for $4,600. Let's see how far back the property history goes. So in 2020, it sold for, that's Texas. In 2014, it sold for $350,000. I'm guessing that's before it got this rehab here. Then in 2020, it sold for $449,000. 2020 sold again for $440,000. Looks like they maybe did the rehab, put a couple $100,000 into it, and it's now going for $795,000. Only $4,500 a month in property taxes. Let's read about this property. I believe this is a historic home. Let's see here. Nestled amidst the stately residences of Muncie's esteemed Emily Kimbrough District, the Charles Over Mansion stands as a resplendent homage to opulent Georgian Revival and Neo-Classical architectural mastery of the 20th century. Constructed in 1902 by distinguished industrialist Charles Over, founder of Over Glassworks, this palatial estate was envisioned as a sanctuary of refinement and artistic expression, a living testament to an era of unparalleled elegance and ambition. The mansion boasts 5 operational pocket doors, original oak flooring, complemented by quarter-sawn oak woodwork throughout the 3rd floor ballroom, leaded and stained glass windows, a dining room graced with a signed landscape hand-painted by lyric opera house muralist Nicole Arciola. Under the stewardship of the current owner, the estate has undergone meticulous renovations that honor its historic integrity. Each restoration has been undertaken with a deep respect for the mansion's legacy, ensuring that its grandeur endures for generations to come. This distinguished estate offers a rare opportunity to own a piece of Muncie's rich history, where the echoes of the past harmoniously coexist with the comforts of the present. The Charles Over Mansion awaits its next discerning individual, ready to embrace its breathtaking beauty and become part of its storied legacy. And, I got a glass of chocolate milk Ovaltine next to me, and I was just noticing it's in a ball jar, so very fitting for today's video. Love these pillars on the out front. The home is just incredibly grand. It's huge, so much square footage. This is right in the historic district. Look at all the wood detail, the built-ins, the stairs, the railings, the wood on the ceiling, the wood floors. I'm not a huge fan of wallpaper, but I can appreciate kind of the look and keeping things kind of historic like that. Light fixtures definitely go with the home. The furniture kind of keeps the vibe going. Let's see, what do we got here? It's a little bit dark in here. You don't necessarily have a ton of natural light, but it's definitely got a cool kind of like old school kind of stately vibe. I think this is that signed mural that they talked about. Nice bathroom. Love the solid wood doors, the wide doors. Beautiful kitchen. We got the built-in island with 2 sinks. With a lot of these old mansions, a lot of people complain when people go too modern with the kitchen. Although people like to have a modern kitchen. We got this lead stained glass here. I mean, look at that staircase. And again, you just see like detail everywhere. The doors, the windows, the ceilings, the fireplace, just everything about this home. Nice bathroom, his and hers pedestal sinks. And up in the attic, we have a little speakeasy or a ballroom. This is kind of a cool area up here. Got your own little bar up there. I think they might have been using it as like a photo studio. So, here's kind of some historical things about this property. I'm guessing that's like a family that bought the home and fixed it up at some point. So overall, very cool home. Muncie, Indiana, you're a couple hours from Indianapolis being like the closest major city. It's kind of middle of nowhere, Indiana. The town's a little bit depressed. Income's a little bit lower than the national average. Crime rate's a little bit higher than the national average. But they do have the university. They do have a good hospital, and they do have the ball glass factory. Let me know what you guys think about this home. Would you ever move to Muncie, Indiana, or a town like Muncie, Indiana, to take advantage of low property prices or to buy a historic home like this for reasonable price? Would you ever go halves or thirds on a home like this with a friend or a couple of friends or a fellow family? What do you guys think about that idea? Drop a comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that and anything else. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below and ring the bell. As always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.